We are live. This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by guns. Guns are the reason why you're having a barbecue this weekend. If you don't support guns, you should go fuck off and die and not celebrate our fucking holiday. And welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get. From north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues. I am your host, Ted Burton. With me today, from the great red state of North Carolina, it's Uncle Buck.
Yeah!
I should also mention we're the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday and the Carl Podcast Networks.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, does our longevity prior to the Carl Network count as, like, by default, making us the longest running podcast
Oh, yeah,
on the Carl
absolutely.
Network?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because screw everyone.
Screw absolutely everyone.
We're the oldest. We're the granddaddy of podcasts at this point.
We're better than Joe Rogan.
But, man, Joe Rogan, he has to have Jamie to even make himself seem relevant. How long has it been since we've even had a guest?
I couldn't tell you. It's been a while. It's been over a year.
And so, without guests, we're still going. We don't have someone like fact checking everything we do. Hey, man, I was on Facebook the other day. Jamie, pull up Facebook. We don't have none of that. We just have the heart and soul of Here's What I Don't Get, which is people and ideas and occasionally excessive amounts of alcohol.
Yeah. We had Jay on for $2.95 and we had the fans on for $2.99. And I was like, I guess we had Mad Cooks on for episode 314.
Yeah, well, I mean, but does he really count as a guest?
Yeah, he does.
Because he's barely a person.
He's has the most guest appearances on this podcast.
That would be true.
Today is the 4th of July, and once again, you will all be fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny or persecution, but from annihilation.
Annihilation.
Yeah. We're recording on the 4th. There's going to be probably fireworks going off in the background. I know in my area because they've been going off for the last 3 or 4 days. All the white women are out in full force on the social media being like, dogs are scared of fireworks. Think twice before you set off fireworks. Like, fuck off, bitch.
No, they're right. Think twice about it so you can enjoy that thought twice as much. Like, I'm going to scare some dogs. Wait, I should think twice. Oh, God, I'm going to scare some dogs today. I'm going to make some woman with the headshot haircut very displeased this evening till about 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. I hope her dog, like, runs around the house like a cat with the zoomies and accidentally hangs itself. Oh, that's going to be the best thing ever.
I saw a funny post that was like, suddenly the yappiest dog you know is sensitive to loud noises. I'm like, yeah, get fucked.
You little fucker.
I do feel bad. Like, people are like, veterans with PTSD they have problems. And I'm like, yeah, but are they veterans with PTSD that are like, that love America? Or are they some of those people that goes like, I'm an Army veteran and I don't see why anybody should be able to own a weapon of war? Because if it's that second one, I will think twice and I will absolutely enjoy blowing up things in their proximity.
Here's your trigger warning. Yeah, I agree. So how's things been for you, dude?
Pretty good. I went and blew glass this morning. It started out really rough. The first piece that I made fell off the pipe. The second piece that I made fell off the pipe. And I was really starting to be like, man, today's really sucking. I don't want to be here. But then the third piece I made is the largest thing I've ever made. And it turned out really well. And it made it into the box. So I was pretty pleased.
I think you should just blame the pipe.
No, it's definitely my fault on those. I wasn't like managing the heat in a good manner.
The pipe wasn't managing the heat.
I could blame my partner because it was the punties that were failing, not the piece. But I like to take responsibility for my own failures.
For selecting a poor partner, yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. Then I came home and took a nap because I was fucking wiped out because it was hot as balls in there. Yeah,
I know the feeling, man.
So looking forward to grilling some food before I go to bed.
Oh, man, I have been to 3 parties in the past 4 days. I'm kind of partied out.
Mm-hmm.
We went uh, Thursday immediately after I got off work. Shot up north to where my wife's from, Maryland, the area where Fred Rush is from. And I didn't pester him this time because he's never there, and he never comes to see me even when he is, prick. But we went to like her mom's side of the family, her dad's side of the family, and basically spent the entire weekend partying. Drove home yesterday, and then today we went to my parents' house for a party. So I've had more meat in the past week than I like. We brought home like 3 or 4 pounds of brisket, and on top of pulled pork and ribs. I'm so fat, like, I could barely sit in this chair at this point. I, it's the craziest thing.
I
So,
grilled some flank steaks a couple of days ago, and they turned out really well. I marinated them for a couple of hours, and then grilled them on the grill along with some corn. Do you ever do corn on the cob on the grill? You just soak the corn in the husk for like an hour or two, and then you just kind of roll it around. You basically leave it on the grill and forget about it. You just roll
unattended,
it,
like a child. Yeah.
back and forth, and it steams itself inside the husk. And then I just like cut the ends of the husk off on the grill, slide the roll out, roll it in some butter, slice all the corn kernels off into a bowl. Fucking fantastic.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I don't like
You
eating
slice
corn
off
on
into
the cob.
What's wrong with you?
Tim
This
also
is
doesn't like eating corn on the cob.
I don't know if that's like a brown people thing or what. Man,
No, it's a
corn on the
people
cob,
that don't like nasty shit stuck in their teeth thing.
that is the best part of eating corn is
No.
being offensive to everyone after you're done.
And you got this whole fucking thing sliding back and forth along your mouth.
Yeah,
You might
it's
as well
like
be
eating
sucking
pussy.
a dick.
No, it's like eating pussy, dude. Just all over that buttery, salty corn. You got your little corn stickers. That like they're stickers, but they're also shaped like corn, molded
Yeah.
plastic, and you just like a typewriter. That's the
Fucking
best.
gross.
That's also how you eat pussy, like a typewriter.
I'm not about that, and I feel bad for your wife.
A lot of teeth come out with it all stuff.
Neon Ghost asked, how many microwaves are blowing up? Are we blowing up tonight? I don't have any plans to blow up a microwave because I'm still in St. Louis. I didn't go down to Tulsa for a myriad of reasons. But I think we're gonna have to blow up a microwave in a time other than the 4th of July to make up for missing this one.
Yeah, Christmas would be a good time.
That would be a good time.
Go buy the Amazon return lot after Black Friday when everyone returns all those microwaves they got.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a staple of Black Friday is cheap microwaves that you just like for like disposable microwaves. Like I didn't need a microwave for Thanksgiving, Amazon, and then return it because you don't need a microwave the rest of the year. I'm making no sense.
Well, actually, so I'm pretty pleased with myself. In 6 days, I've gone a year without owning a microwave. Technically, it's been longer than that because I was living in Airbnbs prior to actually moving into this house. But I moved in this house and I didn't have a microwave, and I kind of set this goal to see how long I could go without one and see like getting around not having a microwave. And I gotta say, I hate fucking microwaves now. Like, whenever I need to reheat food, I put it in a skillet or in a pot and kind of stir it up, and it heats way better. It's not like mushy and gross. I've been buying
Put it in the oven.
Yeah, rebaking stuff in the oven at just a low temperature for a little bit longer. Like, it takes a little bit more forethought and planning to have leftovers than it does with a microwave, but the quality is so much better. The only thing that I truly missed was being able to have popcorn, quickly when I'm sitting down to watch a movie, in the house. But I started buying that Jiffy Pop, and I have a gas stove, and I don't think Jiffy Pop works on an electric stove, but with the gas stove, I've been fucking Jiffy Popping it and everything, and I fucking love Jiffy Pop. Even when I get a microwave again, I'm not fucking around with Pop Secret or Orville Redenbacher.
I think you need to put the Jiffy Pop in the microwave and solve the problem.
The whole aluminum thing.
Yeah.
So the microwave that I'm looking at is on Amazon. It's like it's a $400 microwave, but it's a microwave and an air fryer and like a toaster oven, and it does your taxes and shit. And it's like, it's very expensive and for a microwave, but it's like, but I don't want to have 3 things on my shelf. I just want to buy this one thing. By all accounts, it does all the things very well, and just fucking slap that bitch up there. It has like a smart cook mode where you can be like, I'm reheating this food, and there are like sensors or some shit, and it'll like switch between air fryer and convection oven and microwave, and kind of like make sure your shit is heated to perfection. So we'll see if any of that's true
You're
when
gonna have a microwave.
if I
Go
ever get
ahead.
around to buying one.
You're gonna have a microwave run by Chat GPT where you're like, hey, I need to reheat some popcorn, and you're gonna stick it in there, and it'll like write you a sonnet while it's popping your popcorn or whatever. No, man, I got one of those Presto poppers, the little thing that just stirs the popcorn. Ah, it's the best. I don't like microwave popcorn.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's it's like it looks
a
like a
little
coffee
bowl.
grinder almost.
No, this is like a giant bowl. So I had one of those, the little thing that looks like a little pod, and it's got a little top on it, and it
Mm-hmm.
coughs out the popcorn. No, no, no. I have it's like a bowl. It's got a heat. It's like a little stove almost, but it's got an arm that stirs the popcorn, and you put the lid on and take the little
Oh,
cap, and it stir. You put the oil in, and it stirs the popcorn and pop, 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 pop. Then you unplug it, put the lid back on, and flip it upside down, and your popcorn's already in your bowl. And then if you're me, you get a second bowl, and you start layering butter and salt as you transfer to the other bowl, and then you mush
mm-hmm.
them together and you shake it. I did a video about it
Yeah.
way back in the day.
Here's so you said Black Friday. This is Craigslist. I just searched for microwave and I put the cap at $20. Overhead microwave, dorm size, Frigidaire, over range, microwave oven. There's plenty of microwaves to blow up in the city. That's just the under $20 lot. So, in any case, yeah, I do miss not being able to hang out with Tim and Truck and Tuckin for 4th of July as we have for so many years, but we'll make it up.
I think you need to blow up the microwave by putting the Jiffy Pop in it.
No, we take one of the artillery shells. We take the biggest one we have in whatever lot of artillery shells we have, and we just put it inside and close the door, and then run like hell. And it
Oh, I
just
guess that
they're
works too.
modern. So the first year we did it, we blew up a modern microwave. Modern microwaves they're basically nothing. It's like sheet metal and a big wad of electronics, and the interior isn't insulated, so it goes off, and it just fucking the first one we blew up through the door 28 feet. And then just ripped itself to pieces. And then that same year, we blew up like a microwave from the 70s, and it blew up, and the door opened, and that was it. It didn't do fucking anything else to that microwave. And so,
Those things are tanks.
yeah. So then we blew that one up again, but that time we lit the thing, closed the door, and flipped it on its face, and so it threw it up in the air and then landed, and it was even still pretty intact at that point. It had
You plug it in,
shattered.
it still works. Yeah.
It had shattered the door, and like the insides had gone from being completely flat to bowed out in the sides.
A little
But
bit, yeah.
but it was surprisingly so. Yeah, you have to buy a modern like shitty, cheap Chinese made microwave. That's how you get the real destruction you want.
Yeah, man, those old microwaves, we had one of those when I was a kid. That thing weighs as much as a Buick, and it
Yeah.
just about drive you to school like one too. I mean, it would like you put something in a modern microwave for like 2 minutes and it's kind of lukewarm. You put something in one of those old microwaves for 45 seconds and it's lava.
Hmm.
Like it comes out like it's been on the surface of the fucking sun. It's amazing.
Yeah.
They don't make them like that anymore.
They don't make everything in our lives is made just shittier so that we have to buy. Can you imagine if you were to blow up your parents' microwave like, in the 60s or 70s when they were making them like tanks and they cost a lot of money? And
When they cost like $600, yeah.
yeah, and it'd just be like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? And now we're just like,
got to call them.
I'm going to get a bunch of $20 microwaves off Craigslist and just blow them up and just leave this shit in the street because who gives a fuck anymore?
Well, your parents would have been like, now I have to call the microwave repairman. And that was that was a job that existed. TV repairman. My parents had to call a VCR repairman because of me one time.
Yeah.
But the motherfucker just showed up and started talking about like movies. So and then he ate all my pizza rolls.
Well, they ate all your pizza. What a dickhead.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I know. I couldn't believe it.
Well, you ready to jump into some issues?
Yeah, who's going first? You're me.
You are.
Since I got two.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I don't get. Being the autistic expert. And I saved this one specifically for an episode with you. I did that episode with Joel a while back, and I had this one in the back pocket ready to go. And I was like, no, I think Tab would understand this one a little bit more. And I don't even remember exactly what circumstance brought it to my mind, but I'll tell you a story. So I have a brother. He's 10 years old, 9.5 years older than me. And he texted me the other day and he was like, "Hey, my wife got me a Switch for his birthday is July 1st. My wife got me a Switch for my birthday and I'm starting to play Breath of the Wild. Have you played that one?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I totally have." I was like, "Speaking of which, Ian just bought the new one, Tears of the Kingdom. But like, listen, if you're wanting to talk about Breath of the Wild, don't mention it around him because he will talk your ear off like his old man."
Mm-hmm.
And on past, like he will latch onto a topic, and you are marked. That is the only topic he will talk to you about, and he will like come busting into your room at 2 a.m, like, "Hey, did you know that in Breath of the Wild, blah 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 blah?" And so, and I was exactly like that. And it's one of those things that I just noticed over the course of my life. I know what brought it to my memory. I've mentioned it several times on the show. I got into DCS, and
The flight sim game.
yeah. And I learned a whole lot about it. And someone, I think I was training that guy on third shift. And while we were in between tasks, I pulled up YouTube and I was watching one of those videos. And he's like, "What is this? Like a video game?" I was like, "Oh no, brother, this is DCS, and it's a blah 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 blah." And I start talking about all the cool things I learned, and his eyes just glazed over, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I did it again. I did it again. I didn't know when to stop." I have this wealth, man. I have this delicious wealth of knowledge that enriches me to no end. I'm tickled that I've learned these myriad of facts, and then when I go to share that joy and experience with someone else, it's met with nothing. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
I I feel like that's because they're A, bad people, and B, stupid.
or they're just not into the same thing.
No, it's not about that, right? Because like if people have gotten so self-centered and narcissistic in just the way everything is that they can't interface with something that's not about them so much of the time. And so when you start talking about a thing that they don't care about, even if they care about you or want to put forth the effort of looking like they care about you, they'll just kind of like disassociate with the conversation that's happening and just wait. They're just waiting for their time to get to talk about themselves again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a detriment to like all of society. In that if we were a little bit more open to learning about what other people know about things, we wouldn't all be a bunch of assholes on Twitter thinking we're experts on fucking literally everything because we read the headline of 13 articles and now we're like well versed in how the Supreme Court works.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those things, man. And I've been that way my whole life. So recently, it goes back to video games. My wife's cousin gave me that laptop.
Mm-hmm.
This one, this laptop, and it functions. And I was using it at work to pass the time occasionally, and I installed a bunch of old Wing Commander games. And we've talked in the past about how I was a huge Wing Commander nerd when I was anything flight related, basically. I should have been born a bird. So anyway, that probably explains my brain capacity. So I installed all the old Wing Commander games because you can find them on Pirate Bay, real easy. Even though I've got the physical copies, like they don't run, so you got to find the GOG version. And I started playing these old games, and someone was like, it was my son, saw me playing like Wing Commander Privateer, and he's like, "Hey, what's that game?" I was like, "Oh, this is Wing Commander Privateer. What's it about?" And then like I have to pause. I'm like, how much can I explain to an 8-year-old before he just blanks out?
It's like that clip of from Malcolm in the Middle where he turns, "Son, if you take this step, there's no turning back."
Yeah. Well, so that's the problem. Was I pulled up like Wing Commander 3, and he's like, "I want to try it. It looks kind of like I don't understand why you like it, Dad, but I want to try it." Because he wants to be like his old man, the poor kid. So I pulled up Wing Commander 3 in like one of those little simulator missions, and like I let him fight one Dark Cat in an arrow, and he won. And at that point, when he won the first fight, he was like, "Oh, tell me about this." I was like, "I don't know, son. This is a little more than like this is pretty deep. Like you're gonna have to learn how like all these little buttons and there's all these little key commands." And he was like, "I have to have it. I have to have it." I'm like, "Okay, so here's how you engage the autopilot. He's like, what's autopilot? Well, autopilot is, wait, what? So now we're having to have this conversation about the concept of autopilot, and I'm having to like dump all of this. How do you dump all this lore, because there's story elements to it? How do you dump all of this into an 8-year-old?
You just give him Wing Commander 1 and you go, there you go.
He hates it. He hates that one because it's not as easy. Because I have it on the Super Nintendo, so that was my first thought. Was like, hey man, play the SNES version, which again itself does not play easy, and it's basically unplayable. And he was like, Dad, this game sucks. Let me play the other one again. How do I do this? How do I do this? So, I don't know. That was not really a good example of being the autistic expert in the scope of how I was trying to phrase it. But still, it's that same vein where like someone bumps into a piece of knowledge that you have that triggers an avalanche of knowledge that you can't, like, you see it happening in real time. I'm boring this person. This person doesn't care, but you can't stop. It's like, but then if you look, I mean, you can, but it's like, that's a lot of pressure on the brakes. And then your brake rotors start to warp and the whole thing starts going. So you just kind of like try and coast to a stop and find a natural.
You just have to say like, oh, sorry, I have no filter. And then it's totally okay.
No, it's not. We already talked about that back in season 2, you son of a bitch.
I run into this a lot with, what I also hate about being the autistic expert on things is when then someone like will bother you with a thing. Oh, you know about this thing. Let me bother you with a conversation that I know you're not interested in, where people will try and engage me to talk about the newer Star Trek stuff. It's just like, I don't watch it. I don't care. None of it counts. I don't care. I don't believe in Star Trek after 2005. When all those people are dead, then I'll try it again. But until then, no, thank you. And then I fucking hate the people that want to go like, well, Star Trek Picard season 3 was pretty good. It was watchable or whatever, and try and like convince me to watch a thing that I've already established pretty clearly and firmly that I don't want to watch.
I have no interest in this.
Yeah. It's like, it's the equivalent of being like, oh, here, I made pickle salad with extra pickles on the side. Like, hey, man, don't like pickles. Never like pickles. Never will like pickles. Don't even fucking like the taste of vinegar. Don't like fucking cucumbers. No point in the pickle process have I ever found anything that I like in a pickle. So please.
But have you tried just chewing a raw mouthful of dill?
Leave me the fuck alone. And so, but it's like, but Ted, you're the autistic expert in this thing. You should know all about this. Like, I don't. I've consciously chosen not to know those things. Now, if you want to hear about what happens post TNG, post Nemesis in the books, I can tell you all about that, and I'd be happy to have a long conversation. But if you want to talk about what there's TV shows they're showing on Paramount Plus or whatever they've changed the name to now, sorry, I'm not your guy. But yeah. they can't accept that in the same way where it's like, oh, can you take a look at my computer? Like, yeah, this is a Mac. I'm not a Mac guy, but you do computers. You work on this stuff. Well, yeah, I work in PCs. I'm also not a Linux guy.
Well, see, that's a Mac. That's not a computer. It's a Mac. So it's basically a very expensive doorstop.
It is an extremely expensive doorstop. They're only good for like one or two things. They're great for Facebook. That's what they are. They're glorified Facebook machine. Or the Chromebooks. People will be like, oh yeah, I got this computer, but it won't do this thing. And it's like, yeah, this is a Chromebook. Well, what's the difference? Well, I mean,
this is a computer, and that's a piece of shit.
I could explain this to you, but it would take trying to explain all the Wing Commander lore. Like, it's going to take a while to get the level of information out that you need to understand that this computer doesn't do that. And so you just need to accept the computer doesn't do that. And if you want it to do it, you need to find someone else.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever had a situation where you run across someone else who is also an autistic aficionado of something, but you have to determine, you kind of like have to have this conversation determining the level where each of you is at? Like, have you gone to this length? No. Have you gone to this length? Yeah, I did that last summer. Have you Have you looked into this?
I have not.
I don't. I so I'm friends with this guy, the guy that invited me to do the Juneteenth concert. I don't know if I mentioned that on the show or not. Is an author of this book, and he gave me a copy of it. And at the end of it, he starts talking about Nephilim, and I'm like, "Hey, I like that topic." So I texted him. I was like, "Hey, I like the stuff you had to say about Nephilim at the end of your book." And also, I was kind of like humble bragging that I finished his book, so he knew that I had engaged with it, um, and knew that I took him seriously as an author. It's not a bad book. So he called me while we were on the drive home, and he was like, "Hey, so what'd you like?" And I was like, "Well, I like this thing and that thing." And so we started having the Nephilim conversation, but you have to find out what school of thought this person is in. And it was like, "So what's your thought on like the stuff going on in Antarctica?" He's like, "Oh, that's definitely Nephilim." Like, well, what about the genetic engineering and the Egyptian hieroglyphs with the animal heads? Oh, definitely Nephilim. Okay. I see where you're at. What about this? No, those were not. Okay. Sure. So that's another aspect of like trying to like. It's not necessarily a dick measuring contest, but like just trying to find where someone stands on a topic that you both know a lot about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like if I ever met anyone with an equivalent level of Star Trek knowledge to me, I would hate them.
You see them like a nemesis, a rival.
Yeah, and I would have to destroy them.
There can be only one.
I would love.
Islander. Ah!
I would just be like, all right, do you play the name that episode game? They'd be like, what's the name of that episode game? And it's like, you see how many seconds it takes you to identify an episode using only with no title, just like boom in it. You can do an episode from the beginning, you can do the middle of an episode, you can do just sound, you can do just video, no sound, you can do both. World champion.
And then you raise the stakes and you pull a batleth out of your bag. It's like in the loser dies.
And the loser does die, yeah.
So that's that issue essentially. I just figured you'd appreciate it.
That I do appreciate it. I feel that way sometimes with people that I know's kids that are on the spectrum, and they're like really into their thing and they want to talk about it, and it's like I don't want to be an adult that's like annoyed that this child is present, because I'm sure that there were lots of adults that were annoyed at my presence as a child. So I want to like kind of pay it forward, so to speak, I guess. But at the same time, in my head, I'm like, I kind of wish you would just shut the fuck up.
Like, where's your autistic off button?
I have an off button. It's upstairs. It's black. It's made by Sig Sauer.
It's hidden in the wall. Yeah. All right, that's my issue.
Well, that brings us to the quasi-middle of our episode, which means it's time for...
Episode is brought to you in part by Ricada News Network. Is definitely not fake news.
Well, Buck, I've got some news here from South Korea. South Koreans have become a year or 2 years younger this week, or last week.
Okay.
Because South Korea used to have the thing where you're born and you're 1, and then you turn 2 on the 1st of January.
Gotcha.
Or you gain a year on
your first
1st
birthday,
of January.
you turn, yeah.
So if you're born December 31st, December 31st, you're 1, January 1st, you're 2, and then
Gotcha.
the next January 1st, you're 3. So
Even though you're only a year old.
Yeah, they're fixing this whole thing because there are apparently lots of fucking problems with this method of counting. Who could fucking figure that out? Everybody has like 3 ages. They have their like traditional age and their birth age and all these fucking things. So the government finally passed a law that's like you're now the age you would be if you were born not in South Korea, because this is absolutely retarded. And I cannot believe that in the year 2023, like a semi-developed nation is just now kind of figuring this shit out.
Yeah. That's like counting dates in the Jewish calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had a 2-week period, the time you decide 2 weeks from now, like you're already on day 1 and day 1's coming to a close.
Mm-hmm.
And that can really mess you up.
I believe that. This is another weird one. A man had to go in and have his penis padlock broken with a hammer after he split up with his girlfriend who had the key. He had to have a rusty penis padlock broken with a hammer. He bought the padlock for a sex game when he ended up having to go to a tattoo and piercing specialist in Barcelona, Spain, to see if they could remove it. He had bought the lock 8 months ago and wore it from time to time with his girlfriend while she kept a hold of the key. But the last 3 months, he was trying to remove it after breaking up with her. And by the time he eventually got the key from his ex, the lock had rusted shut. So he went to a tattoo specialist. I would think you would go to like a locksmith. Also, they show pictures of it. It looks like a pretty simple fucking padlock. You could have just had, gotten one of those lock cutters.
Yeah. Or a Dremel tool. Or a lock.
Yeah, so this guy's been wandering around with like this fucking weird penis lock in his pants for 3 months. That just
gangrene.
Fucking mind blowing. There was a news story a couple months ago about one of these. It was an app based lock system where hackers hacked into the penis lock cage thing and then would like demand money before they'd unlock your thing. Here's my thought. I don't want my fucking dick locked in anything ever.
No.
I don't lock the doors to my house because I don't want to think my dick is locked in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get no. So and also like some people are into BDSM, obviously if they're putting locks on their penises. But there is probably a feature on one of those locks where you can like tighten it to for torture. Mm-hmm. And I can just imagine like the hacker logs into that and is like, I could ransom this guy, or I could just shear his nuts clean off at this lock. Just so here's to that poor prick. Slanjava.
Yeah, I would not want to be that guy.
No. Also, never, ever, ever. Why would I get why he did it? Because he wasn't thinking, but
yeah.
In retrospect, leaving the lock with a woman that's not your wife.
Yeah. Well,
terrible idea.
I'm sure they were in like a committed relationship or whatever, but I'm thinking like, all right, yeah, I don't think we should see each other anymore, and I'm gonna need that key to my penis lock like right now, or maybe wait until you're not wearing the penis lock before you break up with her. Maybe she locked him into it and then was like, oh, by the way, I'm leaving you.
Either way, he messed up. The minute the click happened, he had sealed his fate.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got one here from Mexico. You believe in traditional marriage, right?
I do.
Well, this mayor in Mexico has married a female alligator called Little Princess in a traditional ceremony said to bring good fortune to his tribe. So I guess you support that. Mayor Victor Hugo Sosa wed the Cayman reptile, an alligatorid called Alicia Adriana, and said the pair loved each other. The ceremony happened in the town of San Pedro Homela, where indigenous Chontal people live in the Oaxaca state of southern Mexico. It is the union of two cultures, the union of Huavs and the Chontales. Mayor Victor Hugo Sosa told reporters. Victor said during the ritual, I accept responsibility because we love each other. That is what's important. You can't have marriage without love. I yield to marriage with the princess girl. So apparently it's supposed to bring good fortune. They dressed up the alligator all in white. So we have to assume that they didn't have premarital sex. Seems like a beautiful story.
Well, for one, I have several thoughts on this. First, it would be really funny if this story and the other story were the same story, where the alligator. But anyway,
the alligator locked his dick up
and left him to look after the eggs. So anyway, my second thought is, I don't know that you could have both pre and post marital sex with an alligator, because I feel like you're probably only going to get to fuck it once before it kind of gets wise to that and just kills you. Right?
It was small. It was like handheld.
Like the blowjob is going to be the end of it, right?
I would not.
So she's just going to that Gawk Gawk 3000 is going to be Gawk Gawk, and then the death roll, and your sausage just goes right down the hill with her.
Talk about toothy blowjobs.
It's like I like a little teeth. Matter of fact, I like a lot of teeth and scales. So and twisting and detachment. The other thing is the Bible also says anyone who has sex with an animal should die. Which, if you have sex with an alligator, I'm pretty sure you've cemented that fate anyway. So, or a caiman, as the case may be. So, cheers to the happy couple. I wish you a bright future in the fires of hell.
Yeah. So we got a warning from the CDC. The CDC is saying that you shouldn't go to Mexico to get cosmetic surgery. A 39-year-old mother from Texas has become the 6th victim of a fungus linked to botched cosmetic surgeries in Mexico. Jody Atkins died last week from fungal meningitis, a rare life-threatening infection that causes swelling of areas around the brain and spinal cord, after traveling to northern Mexico for cut-price mommy makeover procedures. They talk about what a great woman she is. Obviously, fucking stupid. She's one of 6 Americans, including a mom of 4, Lauren Robinson, a mom of 1, Shane Medrano, who got liposuction. Lauren Robinson got a boob job, liposuction, and a Brazilian butt lift. So that there's 4 of the 6. All of them mothers, all of them trying to save a dime to make themselves look like fucking mutants by going to Mexico of all places to get surgery done. Like, you don't drink the water in Mexico. What the fuck makes you think the surgeons know what they're doing?
Listen, this is fake news because it clearly was not the surgery that was the cause of death. It was they got sick, they got their infection from all the Chad caimans, the Chad male caimans that they were hooking up with while they were there.
Yeah, the brain infection is not isolated to one particular surgeon. No, of course not. It's limited to fucking terrible hygienic practices in Mexico. You dumb bitch. I feel like these women all deserve this. Like, at what single point did you think that was a good idea?
Probably the point at which they looked at what it would cost in the United States, and the point at which they looked at what it would cost in Mexico. Are like, oh, I could save. I don't even know how much you save. Well, my wife has a relative who went to Mexico to get a cosmetic procedure done. She made it, but so I get like it happens. It's real. I don't know. You have to understand inherently that there is some sort of risk involved with doing this, even in an American surgery. So like. You accept like, yeah, there's a certain amount of risk and this could kill me. Having slightly bigger boobs or boobs that don't sag or a slightly rounder butt or whatever the case is, are you willing to die for it? And if you are, well, you got what you wanted.
Yeah, too true. So yeah, those are our news stories. We got alligators and moms dying. Just think of the selfishness, right? Like you have kids, and it's like, oh yeah, your mom died because she wanted to have bigger boobs, and instead of like just being happy with her current life and
your mom died because she was trying to cheat on your dad.
Because she's a hoe. Well, I assume. I'm just gonna throw this out here. Article didn't say anything, but I'm guessing those are all single moms trying to get back out in the dating pool so they can get another baby shot up into their cooter.
I like that phraseology. That's pretty great.
Yeah. Well, this has been
the Potato News Network. Definitely not fake news.
And that takes care of our legal obligation this week. But you know what it doesn't take care of?
Premarital alligator penis surgery.
And if you want to help us get premarital alligator penis surgery, you can visit us at subscribestar.com/HWIDG, tip.HWIDG.com, and patreon.com/HWIDG, which stands for
Here's what I don't get.
Which is the name of the show. And over there we have 5 tiers. We have the $1 tier, which gets you early access to each week's episode, plus our mini-sodes where we talk about little small issues. We have our $2 tier, we throw the random bits and bobs we do now and again. We have our $5 tier, we do our bonus episodes. Here's what I do get, where we drop the hate and talk about what's great. Then we have our $10 tier, where the fans submit films, they vote on what film we watch, and we watch it, record a feature in the commentary. And then finally we have our $50 spite producer tier, where you get a say in the show. You can demand a special bonus episode, you can demand a special guest, you can demand a format change, anything that your heart desires that we can conceivably take care of, we will do so. We want to say thank you to all our patrons, big and small, because without your generous support, this show would not still be going. So thank you.
Amen.
But let's get back to some issues. Here's what I don't get this week. Life on easy mode, aka being a woman.
Okay.
I am so tired of women telling me all about how terrible and hard their lives are when they are they are absolutely not. Like there was there was a SCOTUS hearing, and they're like, yeah, you can now, if you're an artist, if you have an artistic thing and someone wants you to do art that you don't agree with, you don't have to do it. And they're all like, oh my God, they're killing everything. Um, and so once again, women's first thought on this was, let's have a sex strike, like in Liz Estrada.
Because that's definitely going to work.
Yeah, it'll definitely work. And it's like, you don't, women don't, women, men can see women's perspectives in the world. Women can't see men's perspective in the world. They like don't understand why everything, and so they're like, yeah, we'll just have a sex strike. Men will give up. Like, so many men go years of their life without any affection being given to them at all. Even men in relationships will not have like this affection. And so if you're like, yeah, I won't have sex with you, it's like, okay.
I've got my hand.
I was talking to a woman last week, and we were talking about dating and like how basically the conversation came around to like all men are trash and how come we can't meet anyone. And I was like, you have no fucking idea what it's like to be a man in the dating world in the year 2023. All of the apps, all of the dating apps that you're looking at are all massively skewed towards a woman user. So you're getting all kinds of matches constantly. Anybody you swipe right on is probably swiping right on you. The apps are designed to not give men what they want and trick them into paying for them. You're not paying for the apps. And then it's just like this smorgasbord of whatever you want out of it. So you don't have to put in any effort. You find the guy who's simping the most for you. Statistically speaking, women find 90% of men to be a 3 or below, which is fucking unfathomable, while men will rate women on a standard distribution curve because that's the way fucking things work. And then, and like, that's the online dating aspect of it. And it's like, well, you know, you don't have to do that. You can go out and meet people in person. I'm like, yeah, you can absolutely go meet someone in person until you try and like talk to someone and then they think you're creepy and they tell the bartender that you're being creepy and you get thrown out.
Get angel shotted. Yeah.
Yeah. Just for walking up to them and like trying to say hello. Like, you have this lie that you're constantly in danger from every man around you at all times. And so it's like, it's hard to break through this barrier. And so you live in this charmed world where there's never any problems. Or, you know, let's say you lock eyes with someone across the way, you go talk to him, that person's interested. Well, she brought her best friend along, and that chick hates you for literally no fucking reason, for just having the audacity. And so I was with a couple other guys, and they're all like, yeah, he fucking said everything. And I was just like, everything in your life is easier as a woman. Men will bend over backwards just by like the nature of our society to try and make your life easier. If a man sees you struggling with something in a grocery store, they'll offer to give you a hand. If you need to move, a man in your life will give you a hand. As a man, if you're on the side of the road with a flat tire, a man will pull over and give you, help you change your tire.
Blowjob, yeah.
As a man, you're fucking sitting on the side of the road, pouring rain, changing a tire. No one gives a fuck about you. And yet,
you're definitely not getting a woman stopping to help you out.
Yeah, of course not. I remember once. I remember this distinctly. I was on my way to like a friend's birthday get together or something, or I was, for some reason I was dressed nicely. I was wearing like a blazer and a tie, and I got a flat. I was going through this construction zone and something hit and fucking flattened one of my tires. And so I pulled the car over and I started jacking it up and I started to change the tire, and this guy fucking pulled up and changed my tire for me. I was astounded.
You were dressed too nice.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow. And we pulled up, and at first I thought he was just going to help me, and then he just did it, and I was like, this is amazing. This is like, and this is now probably 12, 13 years ago.
And you remember it.
And I still fucking remember it.
And like, if you saw that guy again, you'd be like bros for life.
Yeah, let me buy you a beer, sir.
Yeah, like all these years, like you could be on your deathbed at 120 and be like, my only regret is I never saw that guy again.
Never fucking gave him the old Cayman twister.
Yeah, he deserves it. He deserves the old Cayman twister.
Yeah, so like I'm and then women live on this fucking platform of talking about how terrible and oppressed their lives are, and then fucking simp men will be like, yeah, your life is absolutely terrible. Shut the fuck up. Don't take their side. Fuck them. They want to fucking think life is so fucking terrible. Let's fucking let them. I've stopped helping women in my life with things. Well, not women that are in my life that I like have a somewhat personal relationship with. I'll help them. But a fucking strange woman at the grocery store trying to get like a gallon of milk out of the fucking thing, not my
Not your
fucking problem. Oh, it's too deep in there. Too deep in there. Here comes big old 6'2" me walking through, just like, yeah, I could get any fucking gallon of milk off that shelf I want, but I'm not going to because I don't want to be a creepy guy. Fuck you. This is the world you want to live in. Third wave feminism.
You just walk right by and grab a gallon, the exact gallon of milk she's looking for. Just take it and walk away with it. Like, put it on a shelf. Even if you don't need it, like, put it on a shelf somewhere else where it's going to spoil and turn to cheese.
Yeah, this old couple a couple weeks ago, they flagged me down in the grocery store to get a gallon of milk because it was like too far back on the shelf and they couldn't reach. I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm happy to help you. And then there's like the corporate world where a more attractive woman will get better treatment than her less attractive male counterpart, even if she's not as good at her fucking job.
There was a situation where there were a couple of so at the time, this is a couple years ago, there was a different quality supervisor at my job. And at first glance, she looked kind of like a Barbie doll. She was thin, she was blonde. On closer inspection, she was kind of flat in the front and the back, had horse teeth, like just not all that attractive up close. COVID did her a lot of favors because it covered her nose and her mouth, and you could just see her eyes, which were real made up. Anyway,
Yeah.
so there's her. Then there was an intern that showed up a couple months. I don't know, at some point during the whole thing, and she was a heavier set girl, not as remarkable in the looks department, especially at first glance. Like you could tell, like the supervisor girl, you'd give her like maybe a 6, and if you at first glance you probably give her an 8 or a 9. The other girl, like you definitely call her like a hard 4. And so she was there to do the intern thing for the summer. And at one point, she was having a conversation with somebody, and that somebody reported to me, she's like, this girl does not understand that all the guys here are nice to her just because they want to fuck her.
Yeah.
And like she tried to explain that, she's like, "Oh no, the guys here are always so nice to me." And it was like, they're just nice because their dicks are hard.
Yeah.
Like, do you not understand? And so,
well, it's also it's baked into our like mammal brain. We can't suppress that urge to be nice to women to too much of an extent. Like you have to really logically force your mammalian brain to not step in and fix those problems.
well, and there's 2 levels to that. So if the woman is your age, if the woman is older than you, like there's the instinct of like your mother, protect your mother.
Mm-hmm.
If the woman is, you consider them to be a peer with you, there's like the mate, protect your mate. And if the woman is younger than you, there's a father instinct, protect your daughter.
Yeah.
And I've experienced this on all 3 levels. And it's really like, and you're right, it is something that you have to consciously, like, it engages, you have to catch it, stop it, turn it off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will act on it without thinking.
And I would be fine with that, like that status quo of, yeah, we just like make the world a better place for women because that's the way like biology has dictated that we behave. I'd be fine with that.
Protect
like,
the eggs. Yeah.
Yeah. If we could then, like, women just admitted that yes, they live on easy mode. Yes, they get the benefit of all of thousands of years of evolution and like stuff that's baked into our DNA. And yes, some of them are bitches that take advantage of it. If they just admitted that, it'd be like, all right, cool. We can all.
Well, there are some that will even admit this. So I was on, I spent some time on TikTok, and I was really surprised at the number of. It turned out they were thirst traps, but they start out looking like MRAs, men's rights advocates,
Mm-hmm.
and even they don't always understand it. So there's one. I'm not going to plug her stuff, but she's if you've seen her, you know her. She's covered in tattoos, dark hair girl, and her whole thing was like, she will talk about how like men do this, men do that, and men have like the suicide rates and blah 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 blah. It's like, and if your woman's not treating you right, then just tell her no dick. Like you tell your girlfriend you're cutting her off from the dick for a while. I was like, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Girls don't care if you stop fucking them. What they do is they go get it somewhere else.
Yeah, they know they can catch a dick just fucking anywhere. They just fucking pop up Tinder and just bam, you got one.
And so even this chick who was trying to be a men's rights advocate, like, didn't comprehend, like, it just doesn't work that way. Like, it's a woman can go catch any dick she wants, except for that hard 4 that I was working with.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently she's pretty salty about that. But like any reasonably attractive girl can just go catch dick anywhere she wants. Like a guy who's very attractive and reasonably wealthy can still get shot down by a 2 just on a whim. Like it's not a level playing field.
It's really not. And that's why, like, the movement of men transitioning to being women is like men trying to usurp the easy mode, which is also
I get
weird. I feel like you hit, you know, your early 20s and either you're banging women. You have there are 3 ways, Western man. You're either banging women, you're a MGTOW incel, or you become a trans person. Like, those are your 3 choices. And if you're not banging women by a certain point, you got to pick which one. I don't know what that point is. Maybe 25.
Well, I agree and I don't agree, because I was kind of a combination of the first 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like I finally started getting tail around 22, but like it also soured me on the nature of men and women,
Mm-hmm.
especially because my first wife, which is the first chick I ever shagged, was a real horrid bitch when I was married to her. And she was a horrid bitch before that too. I just didn't know it. And so, and maybe she's still one now. I have no idea. I do know she showed up. I do know she showed up at my show last year, unannounced. That was a little weird. Didn't speak to me, but she brought her new husband, who gave me dirty looks the whole show. That was pretty funny. That was last August.
You fucking came here. Fuck off.
Yeah, and she was still wearing cat ears at 40, so it is what it is. But anyway, what's really weird is her daughter that was my stepdaughter when I was married to her, 18 now. That's a little weird. I feel really old. So,
yeah, going back to like the
like
influencers,
you will transition into MGTOW from that.
Yeah, going back to the influencer thing, you have both kinds. Like, you have the women that are just like somewhere above a 6 in the conventionally attractive way, and they want to, then they wear like skimpy outfits, or you have the ones where they'll be like into whatever niche hobby you're into. Like I've seen like Instagram thoughts that are like Lego models, and like, why can't I find a boyfriend? And I'm like, there's no fucking way you don't have a boyfriend.
That's called thirst trapping.
Yeah. And so you have like those, and you have just like my gimmick is I wear these dresses that ride up and show my ass. And like, there are people that make money just fucking being a hot chick that posts those content. Then you have the like women, the trad woman, who I think are also, like you said, the thirst trap, where it's like, high value men or this and that, and you need to listen. I'm like, no women are watching your fucking TikToks there, lady. It's only guys that want to fuck you watching this, and you know that. It's just like MGTOW guys being like, yeah, this chick understands. Like, yeah, well, she's also fucking probably married, and so you should go stop being on social media. That's right. Like, someone's asking me about what my dating strategy was in St. Louis, and I was like, I'm just gonna go do things. I'm gonna go do things. I'm gonna try and have hobbies that I think are interesting, and my hope is that I will meet someone that is also interested in those kinds of things. Because the online dating stuff doesn't work. I'm not gonna fucking date someone that I work with. That's a fucking terrible idea. Um, like, I'm figure it'll either come around naturally or I'll die alone because I'm fucking unable or unwilling to, due to my autism, play those like games of you got to text back and forth this much, you got to ask these questions, your pictures have to have this kind of fucking composition. Just like,
Listen,
no,
man,
thanks.
there's a whole section of the market you're missing out on, and I'm about to tell you a really cool secret that you already know. You just don't want to do it. Church.
Yeah, no, thank you.
There are, like, my church has a lot of single women. I'm just saying, like, find you a church girl. They're going to be trad wives, probably, maybe not.
Yeah, but then I would be lying to them, right?
Who said you had to lie to them? Most of them are dumb enough they'll marry an atheist anyway.
Because I show up and I'm like, they're like, ah, welcome to the Church of Christ. We're here to, do you accept Jesus? And I'm like, nah, I'm here to pound bitches. And it's like, sir, you need to leave.
No. See, here's what you misunderstand is you be like, especially with the Jesus hair and the beard you got going on right now, you show up and be like, I'm here looking for something. That's all you say. That's not a lie. That's not a lie. And what you're looking for is poontang. But they think you're on a spiritual journey, and they're like, and they do what's called, this is a legit thing. I'm not kidding about this. They'll do what's called missionary dating. They'll be like, I can lead him to Christ through pussy.
Good luck. Many have tried. None have succeeded.
That sounds like an interesting set of stories. We'll talk about that off air.
Yeah. It's I don't like, anybody listens to this knows, I don't like hypocrisy. I don't like, layered. El Chaco talks about is like high trust, low context. I don't like any of those games. Like, I want to be myself because I don't want to meet someone who isn't also themselves. And I also hate that we live in a world where women get to pretend to be the victim all fucking day, every day. Like, oh, we've been like usurped for this and that, and then also get the benefit of being a woman. Like, I wish there was like a communal like men hive mind. Like, they think that this exists, the patriarchy, right? Where we meditate and we all go into a different
link together
of just men. Yeah. And it's like, how will we subjugate the bitches this week? And we're
God,
all
I wish that was real.
It'd be so great, right? And I wish it was real, because we'd go in there and just be like, the women have decided they are the victims of everything, so we will stop treating them nicely. And then they'd be like, agreed. And like the senatorial of men in our hive mind would agree, and we would just start being ruthlessly mean to women until they're like, well, what fucking happened? And one guy would let it slip. He'd be like, oh, in the council of men, we decided since you guys need to be victims for everything, we're going to stop doing all the little nice things that make your lives easy. Welcome to fucking reality.
So remember how we came up with ManNet years and years ago?
Yeah.
I think you just found the next evolution of it, where we're all tapped into like a Borg network. We'll have cybernetic implants, but you have to do this. I think this is the key to it. We have to like go hide in our bathroom while we're taking a shit and be like,
yeah, that's where the transmitter is, like on the toilet.
Yeah. It's in the tank where you hide things that you don't want your wife to find, and then and that way it gets disseminated to everyone equally.
Yeah.
So like,
or like you see a guy in the park and he's doing that, and you're like, that guy's on ManNet. That guy's communing with the council.
So then your girlfriend is like, what's wrong with that guy? It's like, oh, no. That's transcendental meditation. He's totally cool. Leave him alone. Do not interrupt him. He's communicating with the universe and the stars, and he's definitely not trying to scheme up new ways to advance the cause of misogyny for mankind.
advancing the causes of misogyny. Yeah, Elon Musk, Neuralink. We need to get on it.
Listen, Elon Musk, this is imperative. If we're gonna patrol the thoughts, we need Neuralink ManNet now.
Yeah.
If I don't see Elon Musk on Twitter doing this, I know the minute we see this, we know we've won. All men. Yes, all men.
Hashtag all men. Yeah.
Hashtag yes, all men.
Just and the funny thing was, so the conversation I was having this week and talking about like explaining to a woman her life on easy mode. By the end of the conversation, she was like, "Oh yeah, all of that makes sense. You're absolutely right." I'm like, "Is this going to change anything you do in your daily life?" Not at all. Yeah,
No, not really.
Fucking, I tried to be an ambassador for you, but you're not fucking going to learn it all.
I found there's two classes of women, and this is very broad categories. Women who are, let me think of how to phrase this. Women who are genuinely good towards mankind as a whole, towards men and women who are just in it for themselves.
Yeah.
And I get there's a lot of subcategories. Aunt Buck is one of those people who is one of the most genuinely good people. A mean version of me would call her a goody two shoes because she's just so nice to everyone. She's so great. And you can't get that chick to do anything that she considers naughty. And then there's other chicks who just like want to like be rotten.
Mm-hmm.
Good chicks and rotten chicks, I guess. And so like there's so many rotten chicks out there that just are just looking to spoil everything. And I don't know what this psychosis is. It's the strangest thing. And like chicks who want to be good still have this psychosis, and they still like just they're for the streets. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I feel like part of the devolution of our culture, de-evolution of our culture, is that we've propped them up to such a level that they don't see any value in themselves outside of like being, and so they try and like create new value in being skanks, for lack of a better term.
It boils. So this is a little bit of like actual person, Uncle Buck, not character Uncle Buck slipping through. It boils down to a cultural problem we have right now with people not understanding their identity.
Mm-hmm.
Identity is a big topic right now. And in my real life, that's not, here's what I don't get, that's soaked in whiskey. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of prophetic insights to what's going on in the culture right now. And like people are really looking for their identity right now. And so what happens is, in a lot of women, when they can't find identity, men do a mirror version of this. They will seek it in a lot of places. And one of those places is in the approval of the opposite sex, men. And they'll do it in a lot of different ways. A lot of it stems from trying to seek the approval of a father figure. And so I've seen a lot of examples of it. I'm not going to dive too deep into it. That's a whole conversation. This will be a 6-hour podcast. But there's a lot of identity problems going on right now. And that's why you're seeing all the transgender stuff happen. That's why you're seeing all the LGBTQ, blah, 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 blah. People are looking for because people don't know who they are. So like when I was in my 20s, I started asking myself this question when I was at work and I was mad at my wife. I was like,
how am I going to kill her?
Well, that was the second question. No, I really tried to like reconnect with my faith at that point, and it only worked a little bit at that time in my life. But I started asking the question, who am I outside of the incidentals of my physical life, right? Because I hold that I'm a spirit, right? So I'm white, I'm Scottish, of descent, DNA, whatever you want to call it, American by nationality, North Carolina by what am I outside of these things? And that's a hard question to answer. And I've ultimately found an answer. But
an asshole.
People, well, there's, that actually, so when I started doing this show, that was the answer I had settled on. I'm the bad guy. And that allowed me to do a lot of things that I was not happy with. So it turns out that's not a good answer. But people are looking for identity. And that search is going to drive them to do a lot of crazy things until they find it. So I'm gonna cash out there on that because I will be the autistic expert on that topic and continue talking forever.
I kept
Also, the whiskey has seriously kicked in.
I kept thinking that I was hearing something in my basement. I'm just hearing fireworks around the in ears. Well, you've got one more issue this week. What is it?
I want to say that's a good issue, dude. I
thank
think
you.
we should revisit that one like a bitches part 2 issue in a couple episodes. But anyway,
We'll bring in bitches in next week. Then we'll bring in cunts. Then we'll bring in dames, broads. The whole rest of this show is just going to be different ways to name and
Insult
categorize women.
until Elon Musk invents
ManNet.
neural man net.
Yeah.
So anyway, and I'm glad you brought that topic in because here's what I don't get: idealized society fantasies. So I've hit on. I'm going to call this a superset of issues that I've brought in the past, specifically around seasons 1 and 2. Let me regale you with a story that happened over the past couple of weeks, specifically this past week. I was cruising the Facebooks, as I do, which is where I go to observe humanity in its purest form, and it's like the primordial ooze that is modern culture. And I observe a lot. And there was this chick who had put on like Facebook Reels, which means it probably came from TikTok. This bitch with way like the saline injected lips, how she had gotten mean messages from women in her comments over whatever content she was posting, probably thirst trapping. And to prove that she was better than these women, she hit up their husbands. Okay. She sought them out, like, okay, this is your TikTok username. Let's see if it's linked to your Instagram. Oh, it is. Who's your husband on Instagram? Is he linked? There's your husband. She got in his DMs. Hey, baby, what's up? Flirted with their husbands and then screenshotted that when they responded, in theory, and sent that to the wives to prove that I can have your husbands. Okay? So take that. Psh, women problem. And so there's a Facebook group that I'm in called Thought Status Patrolled. It really needs to be replaced with ManNet. But anyway, so this chick was getting dragged in the comments, like what a whore, and all the stuff that all the things that you are thinking right now about hearing that story was being laid out in the comments. Except this one motherfucker was like, you guys are so quick to judge her, but no one's judging the women who said mean things to her on her Facebook. And I was like, or on her TikTok. And I was like, dude, it's the internet.
Saying mean things on TikTok isn't a mortal sin. Adultery is.
Well, so I was like, for one, it's the internet. Two, I don't think we're talking about the same thing here. We're talking about saying a mean comment that was probably very true versus ruining someone's marriage. That's like throwing a pebble versus nuking someone's house. So I don't think you really understand what's going on here. And this person came back to me and it turned into a whole back and forth. And you'd think at 41 years old, I would learn to cash out of these things. Well, that's a funny comment. So anyway, you would think I would learn to cash out on these things, but there's some part of me, I guess I'm a sadist. When someone is that wrong, I have to engage. So I jumped back in and I was like, hey dude, like, he's like, oh, your moral compass is skewed because in a perfect society, no one would say mean things to her in the first place. And I was like, what are you talking about? A perfect society, dude? And he was like, well, if you keep acting this way, karma's going to get you. And I was like, what do you mean if I keep acting like, dude, I know you don't know me from Adam, but like I am a content creator. I've done podcasting. I've done YouTube. I've had horrible things happen to like, not just me and even worse things to the people around me. Like a buddy of mine got sued for $20 million. Another buddy of mine had his family harassed. I've had trolls come out of the woodworks over the most minute things I've said. Like after a while, you just kind of learn it's part of the business of when you put something on the internet, things just kind of happen. That's why they always say, if you're going to be a content creator, don't get in the comments.
Yeah.
Don't go to the Wreck-It Ralph said, don't go to the comments. Right. So like if this chick is going to put out whatever slut content she's putting out, thirst trapping with her big fake lips, she needs to understand like her narcissism needs to stay away from the comments. Otherwise it's gonna get triggered. And this dude just could not understand it. And I found that really sums up a lot of people that I've talked about issues over the years. So we'll go back to the anti-rape device. Remember that one? That's a long time ago. They're like, you have this weird anti-rape device. And they're like, well, just teach men not to rape. And then women won't have to, like, don't tell women to avoid rape, teach men not to rape. And I'm like, you're missing the point. Yes, there can be an ideal society where no men have the urge to rape, but that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Right? There can be an ideal society where no one says mean things in the comments, but that's not realistic. There can be an ideal society where no one abuses the system, so that unemployment or whatever, any system. There's an ideal version of society where people don't do that, but that's not reality. Stop looking at reality as this thing that you can control. It's not. It's just not. Believe me, I've spent 41 years watching people theorize about that's the thing about young people. God, I sound so old right now. In your teens, in your 20s, you get these ideas of what the ideal. Well, if we could just educate people and stop people from doing whatever, then the problem would be solved. Cool. Not going to happen. Like I did it. I did this.
Yeah.
I could just stop the leaders at my church from doing such and such, then this religious problem would be fixed. Not going to fucking happen. Accept it. Just accept it and move on. Because the quicker you can accept that reality is not going to conform to your idea, the quicker you can find a way to navigate the chaos around you.
Yeah. Instead of solving the problem, they're just like wishing their thoughts and prayers, like and subscribe to try and be like, well, we just need to make the problem not exist. What we have a solution to the problem. The solution is don't read the comments, right? Well, but you should be able to read the comments. Nobody should be mean on the internet. Okay.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So the solution, here's the actual solution. Like, no, the solution is something that is completely unfeasible, because I think people like those ideas because they think that, oh, all right, we've solved the problem. The problem is the way to solve the problem is for the problem not to exist. And it's like, okay, well, that doesn't work. It's like, well, we fucking tried. What more can we possibly do? We made the problem. We said the problem shouldn't exist. So I don't even get what do you do next? And it's like, well, you just like congratulations, you just pulled the fucking handbrake of all progress. Just,
Well, it's like this. Even if you could, by proselytizing and preaching, stop one person from being mean in the comments, and we'll apply this to any societal problem you like. If you could stop one person, that's great. You still got what's the population of Earth right now?
7 or 8 billion.
We'll say 8 billion for fun. Okay, so that's you've got 7,999,999,999, an infinite number of nines to go. Good job. You did one person. Oh, well, one person makes a difference. Not really, because that person's going to be dead in a couple years. So the problem isn't society. Society is what it is.
Yeah.
What you do is you fix you, right? Mm-hmm. You fix your unrealistic expectations of society and then learn to navigate from there, right? I can go to work and be very upset that I am required to do this, that, and the other, right? Mm-hmm. And I can say, I shouldn't be required to do this. Maybe not. Guess what? I am. So what do? I find a way. I accept it. I'm fucked. It's just how it is. Then I find a way to navigate forward in my new fucked state. That's all there is to it. You are fucked. Society is fucked. Accept it. Accept it. This is what it is. This chick could not accept that someone said something mean to her in the comments. So she potentially ruined anyway, 4 marriages. She shouldn't have done that. Why? Because she needed to fix herself. Don't go in the comments. Or if you do go in the comments, understand that people say mean things on the internet because it's cathartic.
Yeah.
Right?
Because there's no consequences. Because we spend our entire life. Like, here's the real solution. We need to just be able to say all of our comment language in real life, and everyone needs to not be a little pussy about it. Like, in my idealized society fantasy, that's the way the world works. Because I hate that, you can't go and, you can't use this word because it's bad. It's a bad word. It's an F slur. We're going to say F slur instead of calling someone a faggot. Like, no, he's acting like a fucking faggot. I should be able to call him a faggot on the internet. I should be able to call him a faggot in person. And then the faggot should just be like, well, that guy really doesn't like me. I guess I'll move on with my life. We can't fucking do that. So, like, yeah, in my idealized society fantasy, I would like people to just, like, kind of grow up and stop being little bitches. And that's the way a lot of people feel. So the internet gives them this freedom to be able to say those terrible things free from any real consequences. Because you can't, like, walk into your boss's office and be like, you know what? I think you're a fucking useless cunt that only got to your position by being good at the job you had before, but now you're in this position, you're not fucking any good at it, and you should go back to where you were. And then you should go fuck yourself. Because they'll be like, you're fired, sir.
Why? Why am I fired? Because you express an opinion.
Yeah. We can't allow opinions. Opinions are bad. And so, yeah, instead of trying to like project your ideal of the world onto the rest of the world, you're exactly right. Turn it inward. Make your own world better. If there's like in my industry in theater, there's this fallacy, I guess, for lack of a better term, where it's like, well, people do theater because they love it. It's a passion. And so because it's a passion, you don't have to pay them as much. They are willing to work more hours. Like, all of these things that have just kind of like pervaded the industry for forever, I assume. And I don't agree with any of that. Like, I think that people should be paid more. I think that just because it is a passion. I am passionate about theater. Just because it's a passion doesn't mean that I want to do it for 67 hours a week. Like, I want to be able to do other things that I'm interested in, like fucking watch TV.
Or nothing.
Yeah, a whole fucking pile of nothing would be excellent. But I can't just, like, wish and hope that we'll get to a world where theater will not be an exploitive industry. But what I can do is the people that work for me make sure that they know that I value their time when they're not clocked in on my clock. I don't want them fucking thinking about our problems. I don't want them getting bothered with text messages about some fucking thing at work. If you can't figure it out and it's that urgent, like, talk to me, because I get paid a salary to deal with those things. But even so, if I'm not at work, I don't want to be thinking about work. And so, like, I'm trying to create a culture, a very small little culture, a little tiny petri dish of people that think of theater as a business and as something that, yeah, it's a passion, but you deserve to get paid for it, and that your boss can't exploit your time. Because even if the people that work for me don't stay in theater forever, they'll go work for some job somewhere else. They'll go end up, working for a Fortune 500 company, and they'll have a boss that's like, oh, I need to be able to text you at all times of night or day. No, you fucking don't. Like, my phone goes into do not disturb mode at 8 p.m. because after 8 p.m. you can go fuck yourself. And so, like, I try and communicate those. I try and lead by example and communicate those things, but I don't try and wish that they'll happen in the world. I just kind of, like, I'm planting some seeds, and maybe in 100 years we'll be able to live in a forest that is where people think that, like, oh, when I leave work, I've left work. Don't bother me.
Well, even so, that's one forest on a planet.
Yeah.
I got the hiccups now. I want to tie this together with today's episode and finish out this issue by saying there are people who think that you should tell people not to rob your house or not to sell drugs or whatever, and that should be enough. But guess what? It's not. That's why you own a gun.
Mhm.
Because it's already illegal to murder someone. It's already illegal to steal. It's already illegal to do all these things. But reasonable people who understand that people are sinful, people are fallen, society just is what it is in this state, understand, protect yourself, stay strapped, or get clapped.
Too true.
That's my issue.
That's a great issue.
Thank you.
I wish that you didn't have to bring in that issue. I wish that the world was a better place. You didn't have to bring in those kinds of issues.
Shut the fuck up.
This has been Here's What I Don't Get. I'm Ted Burt.
I'm Uncle Buck.
We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
If you want to call into the Here's What I Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can visit us in the Discord under voicemail upload. We don't have any from the Discord, but we do have some voicemails today. Got one from 8:05 p.m. So someone called in not even 25 minutes ago.
Hey guys, it's Sage. So I'm a little behind on the episodes, but I heard the whole we thing. We are gonna go do this.
Yeah.
Fucking one of my coworkers is the fucking worst at this. She always fucking does little things of like, oh, we should really all like go and do this project together. Like that would be fun. Like,
I was trying to drink something, you
never
bastard.
really participates. Like always, oh well, I'm having a really hard day. So recently, she fucking decided for everyone, sent a message out to everyone because of course people have to fucking do that now. Send a fucking message over corporate fucking programs to talk to each other. So she fucking sends a message. We are all contributing X amount of money to this pregnant bitch at work.
No, we're not.
So that she can get a really good stroller. Fuck off. I'm not having kids. I do not want kids. What makes you think I already pay tax? I'm not going to contribute more to fucking this. No, I am not contributing. No, we are not paying for her fucking shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't care how much I like the person. Stop fucking always asking for fucking money for cookies and cakes and birthdays and shit. Like, I'm a grown-ass man. I can make my own decisions. If I want to fucking contribute, I'll do it. All right, this is running long. Bye.
I can't believe how well that tied in with the episode. Because, talk about fucking easy mode. I need all my coworkers to pool money to buy me a stroller. Get fucked. You decide to have a fucking kid. You fucking bear the responsibility of any purchases necessary for having a fucking kid.
My first thought was when she said, we're paying for this, I was like, you got a mouse in your pocket? That is the most smug, I can't even explain the word. It's like, it's the most dismissive thing you could say to someone who says we. Mm-hmm. Like, we who? The royal we? You got a mouse in your pocket, bitch? I'm not paying. I ain't paying for shit. And that's my fucking money. You're not telling me anything, you dumb cunt. I'm not paying for shit. So
that's the other thing is like, imagine that. Do you think that, going back to my issue, do you think if a male in your office, him and his wife are having a kid, do you think people are going to pool money for that guy to buy a stroller? I don't fucking think
depends.
so.
It depends
and
on how much you like him.
Also, like he said, I'm not going to have kids. I'm a single person. Like, I don't ask the fucking people that I work with or the people in my life to subsidize my bad life decisions, right? I'm not like, hey, everybody, I just bought a big screen TV on a whim for absolutely no fucking reason. And, money's going to be a little tight this month. I'm going to need an extra, $100 to be able to buy more whiskey, because that's the other thing that I'm addicted to.
everyone, I would like to let everyone know that I've decided to become a raging alcoholic, and it turns out this stuff costs money. So if you would like to, I'd like everyone to help me fund this life destruction in a bottle. Specifically, I don't know. I bought this the other day. So if you could just fund my alcoholism forever,
Yeah.
because I'm a man and we live on easy mode. You know, if you believe the patriarchy, anyway.
I'm putting my Cash App into ManNet for everyone. You can send the money there.
Oh, I did it wrong. No, this is more what ManNet's
Hey,
really.
Ted, your boyfriend's name.
ManNet
What?
is more like pointing a gun at your head to blow your own brains out.
Yeah, if you're not watching the video, you're really missing out on all these hand signals. These Illuminati hand signals we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is another voicemail?
Hey, Ted, your boyfriend's name Glass. Get it? Because you blew glass. I'm fucking good.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
He wasn't kidding. I love that. That's kind of like saying no homo after saying the most egregiously sexual thing you can. No, you're just kind of like a closet faggot.
My coworkers make those jokes all the time too.
Yeah, it's because they're all secretly gay. Just
Prob-
gonna let you know that.
Here's another one. Here's one from last week's episode.
Hey guys, I heard you guys do human rights, and I just want to say it sounds like what you are trying to convey is a thing that I've started calling gimme rights, because there's really like two kinds of human rights. The human right of like the individual not have something imposed upon them by the government, like the government can't say what you can speak, the government can't say what arms you can have, government can't say when or where or how you sell your property or what you do with your property. And then there's gimme rights, like gimme water, gimme food, gimme shelter. These are different because they force the government to give them things, which the government has historically used to gain control of the markets for those things. So, you know, it's just a nice slide onto totalitarianism. Just wanted to stop in and say that.
Well, that's a great voicemail. He's exactly right, and that's a really great way to phrase it.
I have a human right to drink water from the river on your property. The fuck you don't. Bang. Because I have a right to own a gun.
The give me rights, like the government needs to, we're going to force the government to give us things, right? But the government doesn't own anything. The government has no property or money. It's only our property and money that they've stolen.
Yeah.
That's I like that.
That's a great issue, or a great addition to the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Sage again. One more thing about the weed thing. Also fucking work. It went from us having voluntary get-togethers outside of work with fun events where the company was paying for it. And now suddenly it's turned into, hey, everyone, let's show up here, and everyone has to pay $50+ each. And it's like, yeah, okay, except everyone also brings their wives or, you know, husbands, whatever. So now it's $100, not including like getting drinks or food or anything like that. You're just out $100. Like, no, I'm not working my fucking ass off at this place and just gonna spend my own money to hang out with the people that I fucking don't want to see outside of work. Like, fuck off. Why is this a we thing now? It's no longer a we thing. It's I have to pay for my own shit and also partially for other people, because everyone, of course, at the end of the night wants to fucking split the bill instead of paying for their own thing. I got a fucking one drink and one food item. I didn't get everything like you fucking fat lard asses. Fuck you. All right, that's it. Bye.
I also
He brings up a good point.
split the bill shit. Like, well, we'll just all split it evenly. Like, no. Either one person pays for all of it, i.e. the company, or you fucking pay for what you bought. And yeah, it's going to be a pain in the ass for the waiter, but fuck it.
Well, the waiter gets paid either way, and then everyone has to tip individually. So as long as everyone's a good tipper, they are fine. which is why they don't invite me to those things because I'm a terrible tipper. My first thought was like, no. You pay me to hang out with these people. I don't pay to hang out with these people. These are people that you pay me to tolerate. You've fundamentally misunderstood the nature of this relationship, where I don't kill this guy because you're paying me not to. The minute I have to pay to be around this guy, you have to start paying me again. Like, you're going to reimburse me for this. Otherwise, dude's dead.
Yeah.
Because that guy fucking refused to do his part of the job and left it for me to do 15 years ago. And I'm still salty about it, Marcus. And I'm going to fucking leave you in a dumpster one day. And you're going to deserve it.
So I've been pretty fortunate in that most of the people that I've worked with over the years are people that I would also like to go like have a beer with.
Yeah, I actually like Myers.
Yeah. So here's one last one. This one came in during the episode.
Here's what I don't get. Guys that braid their beards into that single braid below the chin that goes down a few inches, right? Yeah, I've been seeing all these motorcyclers today with their little vroom bikes going all over town. And it's like a little handle for giving a blowjob or something, right? You just yank on it and knock their fucking throat down on your cock, right? Fucking faggy motherfuckers. And then they always have to have their sunglasses. Like, I'm so cool with my sunglasses. God damn it. I hate motorcyclers and I hate those stupid beards.
So you see, I could be upset about that. Obviously misinformed comment, because this right here is what women hold on to while you're eating puss really good. And then while you're, because she reaches down under her leg, apparently. I don't know, I'm making this up as I go. Anyway, or while you're on top of her, like really giving it to a raw dog, and she's screaming and she's got to have something to grab onto. So like one hand on your shoulder, digging furrows into your back, and the other hand grabs a hold of this thing.
I don't think you're doing it right. Whenever I have sex with a woman, I always tie her hands behind her back. That way she can't run away.
Well, I mean, so I used to do it that way, but I've graduated. After a while, the Stockholm syndrome kicks in, and they start to enjoy it. So, but see, I could be upset about this misinformed voicemail, or I could just disassociate during the voicemails like I usually do.
That's what
it is. What it is
during the news segment.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Well, with that, we can wrap up this week's episode. So until next time,
I'm Uncle Buck.
I'm Ted Burt. I'll catch you next week.
Later, fuckers.